Hi guys, Lauren here, and if you're wondering why the lighting looks a little bit different today, it's because I'm using a ring light, and I used a really cheap one that cost me less than £15. So if you are looking to get a ring light, if there's any vloggers watching this, or anyone who wants one for maybe doing makeup or taking photos of things, it is from a video which the lovely Amy Maxine put on her channel, so I'll link that below. But I'm not here to talk about lights. I wanted to make a video today to talk about my tips for falling pregnant, and then also a little bit about health during pregnancy as well. The reason I wanted to do this video is because about a year and a half ago I made a video about our trying to conceive story, where I chatted about the fact that it took us 9 months to fall pregnant with Sienna, our second daughter. And I was a bit shocked because I'd fallen pregnant without even trying with Sophia, and so I thought it would be that easy with the second one, but it turned out that that wasn't true. In the end, it only actually took us 9 months, which in the grand scheme of things I know is not a long time, but at the time 9 months of getting a negative pregnancy test is really disheartening. So I wanted really to share some of my tips, I guess, for trying for baby number 2. But I'm not doing this video alone. I thought I would get some advice as well and some tips from another lovely mummy vlogger. So I've asked a friend of mine, Lynn JT, who vlogs as Lynn JT Vlogs, and she's also a physiotherapist and she's a hypnobirthing instructor, and she is also trying for baby number 2.
Hey Lauren, it's really nice to be able to chat to you today.
She has a little girl at the moment, so yeah, you can check out her story and all about her gorgeous little daughter. She's so cute, over on her channel. I'll put the link below. But before I go over to Lynn, I just want to tell you my top tip for trying to conceive, whether it's your first child, second, or whatever. I would say that my top tip is to use ovulation kits or ovulation tests, whatever you want to call them. I would go for the good ones, generally the clear blue ones, rather than the ones sort of, you can get cheaper ones. But I tried using those and then I couldn't tell. I was like, is it a line? Is it not a line? Am I ovulating? Am I not? And then it's pointless because you need to know. So you can get ones that pretty much tell you high fertility and then peak fertility, and they're really sort of easy to use. But the reason that's my number one tip is because if I hadn't used ovulation kits, then I wouldn't now have my 1-year-old Sienna, because the month I fell pregnant with her, I actually ovulated a week late, and I wouldn't have known that had I not been, you know, using these tests. I think stress and different things going on in your life can really affect your ovulation. And even those that maybe think they are absolutely perfectly normal, they know when they're ovulating because they're like clockwork, honestly something can sort of just set your whole body off kilter. And even the fact, and you know, putting yourself under the pressure to fall pregnant, that's a stress in itself. So yeah, for me, if I hadn't used ovulation kits, then I wouldn't now have Sienna. But enough of me blabbering on. I'm gonna go over to Lynn now, and she's going to share her advice for falling pregnant with baby number 2.
Well, I'm not an expert in getting pregnant, but I can talk to you about the approach that I'll be taking as we're going to be trying for our second baby very soon. For our first one, we didn't have any problems, but I'm very aware that a lot of our friends are suffering from secondary infertility and finding it really difficult to get that second baby to stick. They've been trying for months, and I do think that that's made me think about what kind of approach I'm going to take to it. So I suppose, well, there are lots of things that are not going to be under my control. There might be medical issues, biological clocks ticking, those kind of things. But I want to look at the things that I do have control over and consider stress as a possible barrier to getting pregnant. And so what I want to do is trying to make sure that I do everything I can to remove that barrier so things can happen naturally faster. Stress is, after all, resistance. So it's resistance that manifests itself in the mind, ruminating thoughts, and you get a really low mood, people get really depressed about it. When you're stressed out about getting pregnant and you're not getting results quick, every time a negative pregnancy test comes back, there's more despair, that you lose hope, you get really frustrated, sex is no longer fun, you start blaming each other, blaming yourself. There's all these negative thoughts that's going to create more stress, and stress is resistance. So that's in the mind, and stress manifests itself then in the body. We know that there are hormonal imbalances that occur, too many stress hormones. The holistic approach would be to try and reduce the amount of stress, the amount of barriers through the mind as well as the body. By that, I would mean, obviously, exercising well in a healthy way to have a healthy body, but also because exercise helps release tension that you're holding. So the stresses that you're not going to be able to avoid, they're going to build up inside you anyway. So you need a way of releasing that. If not, it just builds up. And people who are so stressed, it's under so much pressure, you can feel that in them, you can see it in them. So if you have an outlet for it, you can let that go, you can drop it, then you're not carrying it forever, and that's going to ease the barriers from that point of view. Obviously, good nutrition. I'm not a dietitian, nutritionist or anything like that, but I think using good common sense, there's so much information out there on good healthy foods that you need to eat. For the mind, it's the same. You need to exercise your mind as well to release the stress that's building up, that's creating a barrier inside you. And the best way for doing that is through meditation, learning how to control your mind more, to let go of things that don't matter, so that you can be more at peace inside. And meditation is the best way that I've found that I have to use every day myself for all forms of stress that build up in me. So there you go. That's my tip. It's my approach. That's what I'm going to be doing. It's not guaranteed at all, but we'll soon see.
Okay, so we've chatted a little bit about tips for falling pregnant, but once you are pregnant, then I kind of wanted to know, if there was anything fitness-wise that, or health-wise generally, that Lynn did differently, as she's a physio and knows things to do with health and body and how it all works. So I asked her, what her advice for once you are pregnant, what sort of fitness things can you do, what did she do, and any of her tips.
I found out very late that I was pregnant with Beatrix, and I was really active up to then. I used to work as a physio in a gym, and I was going swimming every day. I was doing all the classes in between patients, and it was great. But as soon as I found out, it coincided with becoming really fatigued, really, really tired, and just one of those normal pregnancy symptoms, I guess. So that toned down the amount of exercise I did anyway. And because she was my first baby, I suppose I felt a little bit paranoid about making sure I wasn't doing too much high impact exercises. I didn't want anything to go wrong. So I changed my entire regime from the normal activities I was doing, all the yoga, Pilates, swimming and all that, to pregnancy specific Pilates, pregnancy specific yoga. And I continued swimming. Gentle swimming was great. I loved that, especially in the third trimester. But it was really just pacing myself a lot. As I grew bigger, got more out of breath. So as the bump grew, there's more compressed lungs, less space to breathe there, just climbing up a flight of stairs, and that was me done. So I would definitely just learn to be more aware of that, pace myself, do small bouts of exercise, little and often throughout the day, so that it would affect my energy levels too much, and I wouldn't be completely knocked out after a session that I would normally do. Okay, so speaking of Pilates, are there any good Pilates moves which you can demonstrate for us? So when that bump really pulls you forwards, what happens is your lower back goes into hyperlordosis like that, and you can really see pregnant women just standing like this so much, with their pelvis tilted anteriorly and a really, really compressed spine there. And you can see how that can compress the nerves, put too much strain on the joints, and people get pains like sciatica, burning pains down the legs. So for the lower back, if you are feeling either stiff in the early days, or you're feeling you actually do have pain from that hyperlordosis, then it's going to be about really gently mobilizing that spine. And I think the best exercise for that I always give is pelvic tilts. And to do that, it's super simple. I've got a whole series of little videos that you can watch, but it's about doing little and often. So you can do this one at your desk all day, and it feels really good, and it's great just to get mobility. So if I just move you down here, so you don't want to be on a cushion, you want to be on a firm base of support with your feet wider than hip width apart. You want to sit up nice and tall, and you're holding onto your bump there, and tilt your pelvis forwards a little bit, and then roll back ever so gently onto your tailbone. So you want to roll back, and this is just the tiniest movement. So you're tilting backwards and then you're tilting forwards. It's very, very gentle, very small, tiny movements. And your upper body shouldn't move too much, so it can be a really, really small, discrete movement. Talking about, you know, an inch either way. And that movement is just lovely for releasing. When you go back, you're creating space in that compressed lower back. You're actually increasing. Imagine here, it's going to be really compressed. And then when you gap by going backwards, you're creating space through the vertebrae at the back. I love that. Holding your core in, of course. And then you can increase the movement as it feels comfortable for you, really. And just doing that for 30 seconds to a minute, especially if you've got a sedentary job, works wonders. It really does. I think it really helps mobilize. And you can compare it to the opposite of doing absolutely nothing at all and lying at home, either on the couch being completely slumped the whole time, or working at the desk where you're just leaning over and typing like that all day. It's just too much time in one position. So if you are in, between those two, you want to make sure you're always mobilizing a little bit.
Okay, I'm now trying those exercises, rolling back. That actually helps my back even, and I'm not pregnant. Finally, I asked her then a little bit about hypnobirthing, which is something that if I had another baby, I'd definitely look into. I just think it's quite a nice way to try and chill your body out ready for birth. I don't really know much about hypnobirthing, so I asked Lynn to share some more info about it.
Now, I suppose the thing with hypnobirthing is it's not just a whole bunch of techniques that you learn, it's an entire change of mindset, a shift in the way you perceive and act during labor and experience birth as a result. So once you know how to be in the right state of mind, and by that I mean closing down the overthinking, stressful, conscious mind and allowing your primal instincts to take over. Once you understand all of those mechanisms and you understand how you can get into that right state of mind, then it's the techniques that you learn that allow you to quickly and easily access that, and equally preventing you from coming out of that good state of mind where you are taken over by fear, and that's what shuts down your system. That's what shuts down your natural birthing response. Learning how to do that through deep meditation, so it's like deep relaxations and using guided imagery to access that state of mind is essential. And doing that, practicing from an early stage is what's going to make the whole switch process much faster, much more powerful, and more effective, and reduce your chances of coming out of that stress, so that when there are surprises or changes of plans or anything like that that can throw you, that can really make you concerned and take you out of that calm bubble, you've got the tools to remain calm, to not allow that to affect you. So yes, it's all about the guided meditations. You can download mine from free from my site and start practicing now. There you go. I hope those were helpful responses. If you want anything clarified or more explanations, then just let me know. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Well, thank you, Lynn, and I hope all you guys out there enjoyed those tips and got something out of them. If you'd like to know more about hypnobirthing or any sort of pregnancy Pilates or anything more from Lynn, as I said, I've got her channel and things below, and I'm sure you can contact her, and she's so lovely, so I'm sure she will be happy to help you out. If you have any other tips as well for things that helped you either fall pregnant or helped you exercise wise during pregnancy, or did you do hypnobirthing, did it work for you, did it not work, but leave any tips, comments, your usual, all of that below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll be back very soon. Bye.